My name is John Knight. Personally, I'm a lieutenant of the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. I'm the person that's doing polygraph. I was born here in Augusta. I went to school in Augusta. In high school, here in Augusta. Left and went to college. Went to the Marine Corps, veteran in Vietnam. Come back to work in the school system. And then I started to work for the old Augusta Police Department. Now, in my 40+ years with the law enforcement and the school system, I learned a few things in my lifetime. Augusta is a good place to live, but we have our problems. All my kids went to school here, they go on to college, but they didn't come back. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of your kids have done the same. I like to change it. I like to have our kids be able to stay here and be productive. Personally, the Sheriff's Department is a reactive force. I like to turn it to proactive. We're starting doing what the old city did years ago, going back to the community police. So I like to put a twist on it. I believe that there should be a two-pronged attack. Attack before crime is committed and after the crime is committed. Now, what I mean is prevention. We need to set a program to start young people earlier to be able to respect the law and know the law. And we need to be able to punish those ones at the end that violate those laws. See, in order to have a good society, and society is made up of law, we all have to abide by some law. That's why young folks, and this change here, is about the early 70s. Now, young people in school don't have some of the laws they're about. There's no peace in what the school system can do for young people. So what happens is that in the last couple of generations, we've had young folks that was not abiding by the law, that was not punished. And they grew up to be adults that used to the law. I'd like to change it. My platform will be service, compassion, and fairness. We're going to give you a better service with compassion and with treating fairness. Thank you.
For good government to allow me to come and introduce myself to you tonight. My name is Scott Peeble. I was born and raised in Augusta, Richmond County. I graduated from Richmond County Schools from Westside High School. And at 19, I went to Richmond County Sheriff's Office, where I've been for the last 21 years. So if you're doing the math, that makes me roughly 27 years old. Okay. I want to help you out there. Go ahead and do that. I started on the road patrol. I was on the DUI task force. I was on the crime suppression team, and also went to SWAT team. After about 5 years, I went to the violent crime division. Violent crime division is responsible for handling all kinds of crimes against persons, whether it be armed robberies, shootings, murders, rape, you name it. I became the division commander of the violent crime division, and when I became the division commander, I started the major case squad. The major case squad is a team approach to investigative homicide. And with that team approach, in the first 2 years, we took the homicide clearance rate to 95% here in Richmond County, which can't be touched anywhere in the nation. So I believe in being believing. I'm also currently served as your SWAT team commander, although I'm on leave right now. And I'm also the division commander of about 3,000 cases a month for investigation. That could be anything from a stolen lawnmower to a homicide and everything in between. And it's my division that's responsible for those investigations. As your next sheriff, there are three things I want you to know that I will bring to the Richmond County Sheriff's Office and to the citizens of Richmond County. That's community policing, a citizens advisory board, and I'll seek national accreditation for the Richmond County Sheriff's Office. Now let me tell you a little bit about community policing. Some people may try and make you believe that community policing is a model that is weak on crime. I assure you, anybody that tells you that doesn't know the first thing and hasn't done any research about community policing. Community policing is one of the most aggressive policing models that exist today. If you want to find out a little bit more about it, or a lot more about it, and the model that I will follow, you can go to the U.S. Department of Justice's website and look up community policing, and that's the model that I would look at. But in a nutshell, what I would tell you is that community policing addresses more than the reactionary issues that Kenneth Ivey was talking about, and as far as when a crime happens, we address it. We also address the conditions that create crime. And when you look at community policing models, officers are held accountable for those conditions. And those conditions could be anything from chronic nuisance property to loud music to prostitution. All of these things send a signal to people who pass through a neighborhood or live in a neighborhood that anything goes here. And if they're unaddressed, then other types of crime will absolutely follow. There's no doubt about that. And so in a community policing model, we have to address those issues. But we also have to be involved on the prevention side. We have to be involved with at-risk youth and show them other alternatives and other opportunities for their lives. When you talk about a citizens advisory board, the Richmond County Sheriff's Office is the primary law enforcement agency for Richmond County. The difference between us and other communities is that some other communities have a police department. The police chief is hired by the commission who represents everyone, and that's who he's answerable to. When you elect your sheriff, ladies and gentlemen, that's who you've got. He's answerable to you and no one else. An advisory board, if we create a citizens advisory board, at least then we can have citizens give their input and direction into the direction that we're going to take the agency. They can advise us on the policies and procedures that we're going to implement, and they can also advise us on give us feedback on how we're doing out in the community. And without having that input, then how do we really know how the community feels about the job that we're doing? And how does the community feel connected to us without having that input? Finally, I want to talk to you about national accreditation. As I told you a few minutes ago, the sheriff is a very powerful elected official. The reason that I want to see national accreditation is because they prescribe a gold standard for policies and procedures. It is basically a best practices model for how law enforcement should operate all across the country. We are the second largest city in the state. We are the largest full-service sheriff's office in the state of Georgia. It's time that we have national accreditation. Without it, the next sheriff can come along and allow the department to go in whatever direction he or she chooses. The reason I want national accreditation is that I want that sheriff to be held to those standards. Now, any sheriff can come along and lose accreditation, but they would have to bear the pain of being that person that lost the accreditation. When you lose accreditation or when you don't follow the policies that are held by POLIA, then you will lose that accreditation. And so that's one of the main reasons that I want to seek accreditation, is so that the sheriff is answerable to those standards. What sets me apart from the rest of the candidates? I believe the very first thing is accessibility. For the last 15 years, when you met me, whether you were a millionaire or a drug addict who was homeless, you got my personal cell phone number. My desire to serve and the sheriff's desire to serve should be the primary thing. We should not act as overseers of service. We are servants of the community, and your sheriff should be accessible. If you have a problem, you should be able to do what you do right now with Sheriff Green. Walk into his office without an appointment and meet with him and have him help you solve that problem. I'm telling you, that's the kind of sheriff I'll be, because that's the kind of person I've been as a law enforcement officer. I also know that other candidates agree that we should have community policing, but what sets me apart from them is the ability to to put a complex plan together and follow it through. If you look at the operations we run, government, smoke screen, and pop hunt, those are complex operations that I put together and executed from beginning to end. They were not easy. We won first place in the world for a gun Inc. from the International Association of Chiefs of Police. So I'm a person who knows how to put a plan together and follow it through. I'm willing to think outside the box and try new things, and I just want your vote. I want your support. I'm asking each and every one of you for your support and for your vote on July 31st in the Democratic primary. I promise I'll make you proud. I promise I won't let you down. And if afterwards anybody wants to come and meet with me, I'd love to meet with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to be here with us. I believe that law enforcement and the community can only be effective if they address the community problem and underlying efforts. The purpose of the sheriff's office is to protect and serve the community. This is a sacred place. This is a place that I've devoted over the last 19 years of my life. This is a place that we now must undertake together in an effort to save our children and to take back our community. See, I was born here in Augusta, Georgia. I was educated in Richmond County School System. I was fortunate enough to earn a scholarship at South Carolina State University, where I got my degree in criminal justice. I gladly returned to Augusta, was able to serve my community by joining the Augusta Police Department in 1993, which eventually merged with the Sheriff's Office in 1996. While at the Sheriff's Office, I went on to earn my master's degree in counseling and psychology from Troy University in 2006. In 2008, I was afforded the opportunity to attend and graduate from the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. Fate struck again, and I was given a chance to provide two of my greatest passions. That was law enforcement and mentoring children. By accepting the job at Richmond County Board of Education as a field operations supervisor for the police department. I'm a state certified firearms instructor, defensive tactics instructor, and I teach SWAT levels 1, 2, and 3 from the state of Georgia. I've been an adjunct instructor for the CSRA Law Enforcement Academy and Delta Tech Police Academy for over 15 years, specializing in criminal law and interview interrogation. Through my education and my training and my experience, I have prepared myself to become the chief law enforcement officer for all the citizens of Augusta, Richmond County. Now, there are many different faces that make up this community. Faces that have eyes that are filled with the hopes and dreams of the new and positive day. Faces that can be brought together under one vision for the betterment of this entire community. See, this election is going to be about choice. This election is going to be about challenge. How we choose to respond to those challenges is ultimately going to define us as a community. With our community, we're continually faced with social and economic challenges, emotional obstacles, and unstable climate. Now, we view our challenges as opportunities to improve our way of life. Then we can start to rebuild the trust and the cooperation between law enforcement and the citizens of this community. If we as a community start working together as opposed to against each other, we can achieve more, we can develop more, and ultimately we can build a community where our children and our grandchildren can run and play unabated of violent crime, limited resources for social dignity. If elected, I too will establish a community policing program that will create a culture of positive problem solving within the community itself. I will implement the latest law enforcement technology, such as cameras, with facial recognition software and vehicle identification software, which will greatly assist us in exceeding evaluation of the true innocent and deliver the true wrongdoers to justice. Additionally, I will work with the Richmond County Board of Education in establishing programs that will promote its education efforts. I work tirelessly with the district attorney's office and the courts to explore and implement viable alternatives to incarceration. As leading statistics have shown us, while incarceration is sometimes necessary, it is not always the best solution. Over the next 2 years, we'll be faced with many challenges. But one thing we will not be faced with is our vision. Our vision to come together as a community. Our vision should be that we shall all work, shop, live, and worship in the same community and make it a better place. And to do this, we must take responsibility, and we must all do our part. We need to promise less and deliver more. We need to start focusing on our strengths rather than our weaknesses. We need to start focusing on our accomplishments rather than our failures. We need to understand that everyone experiences challenges that they won't overcome. But we must embrace those challenges. And if we do that, then our vision will be sealed with this change. When I'm elected, I will perform the duties of the sheriff's office with fairness, honesty, and integrity. In order for a sheriff to be effective, he must fully comprehend and appreciate the needs of his community. I will not only enforce the law, but I want to prevent young men and young women from entering this perilous world and all that is entails, and make this community safe for all citizens. If I'm elected sheriff, and with your help, I will do everything in my power to bring these goals and this vision to fruition. I tell you that I look forward to this. Thank you, God.
Contrary to everybody's belief, the last case I worked on wasn't the windows to get in. I have listened to people talk about my age, and that's a good thing to talk about. I know I'm probably one of the oldest candidates that's offered for this office, and I want you to know I believe you have 6. I have not let this go down, but I want you to know I believe you have at least 5 good candidates. Everybody here tonight wants to be sheriff. They are passionate about it. I'm not going to get involved in my campaign in mudslinging. I'm not going to do anything to talk about qualifications. Ron Silas got people, it's Roundtree, beside me, all of them good people, they're honest, and they're sincere about what they do. But there is a marked difference in the way I feel like the sheriff of Richmond County and the way they feel. And this is what I'm going to debate, this is what I'm going to tell you. Because I'm the one they're talking about when we start talking about community policing. And I'll tell you what I think of community policing. Now let me tell you, I came up and I was born in Augusta, went to Buffalo High School, I went in the Army, and I went on the fire department, went on the sheriff's department in 1969. I worked as a road patrolman, violent crimes, vice and narcotics. I've run complex investigations. I've investigated every kind of violent crime you can name. For example, if everybody knows the batteries did that, the J.B. White, some different crimes that happened. I've investigated. I'm a polygraph examiner. I've been to fingerprint school. I'm a graduate of the DEA Academy in Monaco in Washington, D.C. While I was on the road patrol, I obtained my undergraduate degree from Augusta State, obtained a Juris Doctorate law from Augusta Law School, and I've been practicing law ever since. I've been a special prosecutor for the city of Augusta. I've been a special attorney general for the state of Georgia, and I've been practicing law in the firm I've been with now since 1985. So let me tell you some views now, and I'll be glad to match my qualifications with anybody. But let me tell you the views I think about being sheriff of Richmond County. Number one, I'm passionate about it. I'm 63 years old, and I hope to goodness I have enough good years left. I'm in good health, and I'm sincere about what I want to do. I'm not running as a safety valve for anybody if they win in the primary. Number two is a lot of times Canada promise you, although they're sincere about it, the feel-good statements. They don't give you community policing. They're not going to give you community policing. If you go on the website and read about the Justice Department, talk about community policing. And they assign people to these little subdivisions in different areas, and they attack just about live there and get involved in the day-to-day activities of the people that live there. they start playing ball with them. Read about community policing. It's a great concept. I'm not about community policing. I will participate in my version of community policing. If you have a problem, I'm coming to see you myself. That's what I feel like the sheriff of Richmond County should do. If you're a victim of a crime, I'm coming to see you. If you don't get satisfaction from my men and you don't think they're investigating your case properly or doing what they should do, I'm the sheriff of Richmond County and I'm coming to see you because you don't have to come to see me. I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. In fact, I will participate in programs to help our youth. I will participate in programs to help our community. But if you have the propensity to violate crimes, violate the law, rob, steal, and do drugs, you're not going to like me. Because I'm not out there to counsel you. And I'm not going to counsel you. And I'm not coming in these subdivisions and stand there and try to figure out why you're out breaking in people's houses and why you're stealing things. You want me to be your sheriff. Because I'm going to put them in jail. And Good Judge Overstreet, I talk all the time in court. And somebody stands up and objects, and I don't have anybody to object, anybody to rule on the objection. So I'm the one next time that y'all hear he's talking about the guy that said he's law and order, he's going to put people in jail, put the judges out of the job. That's not true. I believe law enforcement is to enforce the law. I'm going to try to go back. We have 40 cars on the ship in this county, riding, 40 one-man cars riding in this county on any given shift. I'm going to try to go back to the system where we try to take more calls over the phone. I'm going to try to put two-man cars out there and make it safer for these deputies out there, make it safer for these officers that's out there handling these calls. I'm going to put them in high crime areas. And I'm making a commitment to you that if you're the victim of a crime, and you have a burglary, or you have a theft, and they don't give you satisfaction, I'm coming to see you. So these good candidates, we're all friends, I hope we are. I'm their friend. They won't say I criticize community policing. I love community policing, go in neighborhoods and talk to the people. If you have a neighborhood watch, I'm coming to see you. If you have a property owner association, Sheriff Freddie Sanders is coming out to meet you. I want to know what your problem is. But these feel-good statements about we're going to have community policing and we're going to make everybody feel better and we're going to get these communities and tell them how they should live, it's not going to work. If you think you can do that, you better hire about 15,000 more police officers, so it's not going to work. I agree with Mr. Pickles about accreditation is a good thing for the department, but I'm not convinced that it's good for this county right now to spend the money that it would take to be accredited in the system it's got right now. It doesn't make the liability any less. It doesn't make the department any better. I'm going to make the sheriff's department, I don't always believe young ideas are the best in the world. I'm going to make the sheriff's department back what it used to be. I'm going to make it responsive to you. I believe the sheriff of Richmond County, and one advantage I have over these fine gentlemen here is the time I have spent away from law enforcement. I was over there in the sheriff's department 17 years and served as the chief of the Richmond County Police Department for 2.5 years. So I know one of the candidates is actually running the department. But the time that I was away from the sheriff's department, although I have talked to my good friend Ronnie Springs almost every day, and I know what's going on that department. And by the way, I was telling Tilly Cooper the other day, those cars, I picked the color out. The uniform, I did. That whole department was created with the Richmond County Police Department when it came into existence. And it's the same way it is today as it was then. But what I have learned from being away from law enforcement is, actually, I do serve you. I used to hear that when I was on the road patrol, people come up and say, well, I pay your salary. Well, you know what? You do pay my salary. And I learned that being away from law enforcement. So I'm committing to you that I do want to be a sheriff. If you elect me, we're going to have a staunch law and order sheriff. And I'm going to come out and make sure you are protected. And if you need to see me, I'm going to come talk to you, and we're going to make sure these thieves and these burglars and all these other criminals that want to have excuses about the way they follow, the way they live, and shouldn't be punished, they're not going to like me. So I ask you to consider what I'm saying. I'm vocal about it. I'm committed to it. I'm passionate. I'm from the old school, and that's the way I'm gonna run the sheriff's department, and I hope you'll see this vote. So, well, thank you, Jim, for here tonight. Again, for the third time, I'm Robert Dollar, I'm candidate for sheriff. With your vote, your prayers, your support, I'll be the next sheriff of Richmond County. I'm a lifelong resident of Richmond County, 45 years, before the end of the month. I've been married for 23 years, and have 2 beautiful children. At this time, I want to introduce you to my family. My wife, Renee, of 23 years. My daughter, Kaylee, 19 years of age. And my son, Cameron, 17. My wife has been a stay-home mom for 19 years. My daughter is the president of the military. My son is a junior at Westside High School. Product of this community. I own my home, my automobile bills, and I pay my taxes. I'm a member of Hillcrest Baptist Church. I currently am the president of Master City Little League in South Augusta. I'm also the president of the Westside High School Booster Club. I have 15 years experience in law enforcement. I'm currently a lieutenant on the road patrol for the North Precinct, where I supervise as well as work in the streets with men and women of my youth group. I'm not in the office pushing a pen, but in the street protecting and serving the citizens of this community. Every day we come to work, we do an operation. We don't do an operation just at election time. We do one every day. I believe I have the experience it will take to keep the sheriff's office moving forward. I realize it will not be easy to build the shoes of Sheriff Strength and Sheriff Weapon, but in the legacy, I will look to continue to serve with honesty, integrity, and maintain a high level of professionalism within the department. I will be committed to getting criminals off the street and making the community a safer place to live. Protecting our family's future is my motto and my mission. I made the decision to stay on the local road because I felt it gave me an opportunity to better understand the needs and wants of the general public. It allowed me to communicate one-on-one with families in the neighborhoods and business owners as well. It is my belief that knowing the street is knowing the community, and knowing the community is knowing the job. My professional training goes a long way. When I'm off work, I'm usually in foresight, wherever it may be, to advance my training. I believe I've had more specialized training than any other candidate in this race. Some of my professional accomplishments over 14 years of state practice, over 14 years of personal attendance in the sheriff's office, for over 14 years of expert marksmanship. I received numerous meritorious city awards and other accommodations. Just recently, I was awarded South Augusta Officer of the Year for the South Augusta Fire Progress Team. I have no suspensions, no reprimands, or violations of my personnel file. If you let me your sheriff, I will work to the best of my ability to protect the family's future. Some of the candidates talk about community policing. A lot of people have different ideas about community policing. I tell my guys every day, you need somebody different. Whether it be a homeowner, business owner, or a child in your neighborhood. Children are people. We need to get into those neighborhoods. Children should be running to our cars instead of away from our cars. We can work on that. The community policing, some people think a lot of manpower. But a lot of folks don't realize when you come into the sheriff's office January 1st, your budget is pretty much already set. So you got to work with it. You can't get up here and just make calls, but you're going to increase manpower and other things that's going to cost money. This is going to be a very crucial time in our election, in our department. A lot of folks are going to contemplate retirement. With some of those monies that are going to be freed up there, I would like to shift those to other people. put more deputies on the street. You hear every day in the newspaper, people got stabbed, people got killed, raised, robbed. Well, a lot of people don't realize that how many people died on our streets last year off the wheel accidents. We had 27 homicides last year, but we had 40 fatalities, motor vehicle fatalities. Those people were victims too. Back in 1995, we consolidated. We done away with our traffic division. Getting back to the traffic division, you can utilize manpower that you have already. You can save lives. We can take a fight out of that automatically by shifting manpower to that. That's something I was focused on. Again, youth is our future. We're adding more programs. We used to have a summer camp at our training range that was cut out. And then explore programs that involve youth that was cut out. We will get back to both our youth, protecting our youth, getting more involved in programs. You know, this will be a better place to live. You know, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I want to thank good government committees for having us here, for doing what they do to make sure that we have elected officials in office that are going to do what they're supposed to do. After this goes tonight, anyone that wants to talk to me one-on-one, we're going to take I'm willing to put everything out on the line, whatever you need to do. So I'll be really here. I thank you for being here tonight.
animalshow.com